I'm hard pressed to king of hearts out the card deck. Regardless of hardships we harbor, it's offset. Sails in the wind, it never fails, pales in comparison. When roll the marijuana and martinis for Maryland. It's hard to keep up with current affairs. Not because the volume, it's the content that has me worried and scared. A poet's demise, but so my eyes shut. For most of my life, I had my tongue tied up.
Real Talk with Star Scorpio. So I'm so excited to have my next guest on. I reached out to him on Instagram, and it only took one post where he was rapping where I was like, yo, I gotta send him a message because his flow remind me of the 90s hip hop, the lyric, his style, his flow, everything I liked about him. So I reached out to him, and I'm glad to have him here today. We're gonna get into it. So Elleybee, welcome to Real Talk with Star Scorpio. How you
Thank
doing
you, brother.
today?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, man. I'm glad you reached out for sure. Like what you're
Yes,
doing, man.
yes, thank you, man. And I can say you're a fellow Canadian, right? We fellow Canadian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in Ontario right now in the Owen Sound area. So
Okay.
yeah, up north.
Yes. Okay, so then let's get into this. I like to build a timeline and real talk. So first, you're Canadian, but so where were you born and raised? It was Canada, but what city?
Yeah, actually from the East Coast. So I was born out in New Brunswick, Campbellton, New Brunswick. My family moved up here when I was quite young. I think I was like 5 or 6 or something like that, up to London, Ontario, and then we kind of just branched out from there. Um, yeah, and then I made my way from London to Stratford, where Justin Bieber's from, and
Yeah,
the festival and everything.
yeah.
And yeah, and then I just kind of moved up here recently, up to the Owen Sound area. So
Wow, you're just giving the geography for I have a
yeah.
lot of American listeners and probably overseas too, just a little bit. But yeah, you gave the geography of Canada, man.
Yeah, a
So
little bit, yeah, so they can get some knowledge in them, right? So it's good.
yeah, yo, I need to go out east, man, because my wife's been out there to Nova Scotia, but
Yeah,
I
it's
need to hit
beautiful.
yes, I need to hit PEI,
Yeah,
Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick,
yeah,
Newfoundland.
definitely. Newfoundland too. Yeah, I haven't even been out that way. So, but
Yeah.
my mom's from Newfoundland. So yeah, beautiful out there too, man. Check it out.
Mhm. Have you been to the other side? Have you been to the
No,
Calgary?
I haven't been to the West Coast yet. I definitely want to go. I think
Mhm.
I might be going in the next few months. Actually, I might just fly out and spend a weekend out there. But we'll see.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna ask about that too, though. But will it be music related? Is it because what you're doing with the music, or just
Yeah, hopefully. I'm working with a production company. Well, I want to be working with their Center Productions out of the city that I'm at now. And they do a lot of multimedia stuff, videos and whatnot. So just take even one of their videographers with me and like kind of go on a trip and
oh
shoot some videos and stuff and just
yeah,
kind of up the production value a little bit, right? So
yeah. I want to ask you about that too, man, because I
yeah,
like some of the songs with the imagery in the background. But I'll ask you later about that, man. Some of your
definitely,
tracks.
definitely, definitely.
But okay, how was your school days, man? Like, I like to know when I interview, especially artists. So whether you
Mm.
be a rapper, a comedian, a singer, you paint. I interviewed a painter.
Oh yeah.
What were your interests back in high school days? And do you think it led to what you're doing now?
That's a really good question. I think so. I did have, to be honest, like totally brutally honest with you, like had a rough kind of like upbringing, had a rough teenage years, right? Like it's kind of like out on the streets a lot, out on my own. I was kind of left my mom's home at an early age, got into trouble as a youth. But music and like poetry, I guess, writing is kind of where that came from poetry. I used to write down, all my thoughts and feelings and the emotions that I had. And then it turned into poetry. And then I started listening to rap and hip hop. So a lot of old school hip hop and rap. uh, Tupac, Biggie, Ice Cube, Nas, like the greats, pretty
Yeah.
much. And and that's kind of where it led me to, like these guys made something from what all their feelings, all their thoughts, right? What they wrote down. So kind of that's where it started, and it kind of just progressed from there.
Yo, I'm glad you touched on that. It's so funny sometimes when I interview my guests and I have a question lined up for them, but you touched on it because I was like, well, I wonder when you started writing because you exude like the heart of a poet. When I listen to your lyrics, I'm like, that sounds like poetry. So you answered my question. I want to
I
know when you
appreciate that.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want
Yeah,
to know when you
that's
started
like
writing
kind
poetry.
of that's what it is for me is like there's a something raw, like real about poetry, right? Just the emotion. So I've been doing this for 21 years, I think. I'm 35 now. I started writing when I was like 14 or something. So it's been a long time, and it progresses and stuff, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, it's good.
Did your writing style change over the years? Because I guess it has to change.
Mhm.
Because even when I did stand-up comedy, my jokes progressed from just your like humor from your family and being black growing up in Canada and things like that.
Yeah.
And then you get into the more intricate jokes and trying to be creative about it. So with you and your music, did it change over the years?
Definitely, I think so. I think in the beginning, it's quite. I always have this funny thing where I go back and I listen to like. Actually, before this, I was going through like old files and stuff, and just to go back, and I'm laughing at what I used to write,
Yeah, yeah,
right? What I used to make. But it was a lot more like. I think at that time, like Eminem was really big, and he was a big role model to me, like inspiration and stuff. But he was just like a wow factor. You'd say like the craziest stuff you'd
yeah,
hear anyone say on the mic, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I thought, oh, I could do this too. But yeah, so it got a lot more mature as the years went on.
yeah,
I think the substance got a little bit more like I'm not appropriating any culture. I can't really like I'm not a gangbanger. I'm not like
yeah, yeah,
out rocking diamonds or anything, right?
yeah, yeah.
So that's not me. I want to just be real as possible, right? So
Hey, since you brought up Eminem, I love M's flow. I'm a 90s kid. So wait, so you're 35, I'm 49. So
right,
I grew up in like the 80s hip hop with the Run DMC, Big Daddy Kane, you name it. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
hit the 90s. But when M came, I was like, whoa. So I've never asked this to, I know a lot of rappers, a lot of, multicultural, right? Black and white.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I never asked someone this. So some people like to say when you're watching like social media now in politics, they're saying some black people don't have representation in certain things, and little kids might like to see a black person. But for me, I
Mm.
don't care. I try not to watch color, but I
Yeah,
kind of see
no, I
what
like that.
people, yeah. But I kind of see what people mean when they say, "Oh, if a black guy's doing this, you may say, oh, I can aspire to do that." When
Mhm.
Eminem came, but there was third base back in the days, and I'm losing my memory now. But who were those guys back in the 80s? I can't remember the name of that group. One guy passed away in the Run
Oh,
DMC era.
Run DMC. Was it?
The white
Oh, I'm trying to
rappers.
think. Oh,
You know what I'm
Beastie
talking
Boys.
about.
Yeah, Beastie Boys, right?
Beastie Boys. There
Yeah,
you go,
Beastie
right?
Boys. Yeah,
You know your stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so there was white rappers and stuff back in the days, and but
Mhm.
when M came around, he blew up the scene.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
did that have an influence on you too, or was it just hey, it's another rapper and I like his style?
I think it did, like obviously, and just like you, I try not to see like color or anything like that. But, and I know there's been a lot of artists that have been quoted, even like Dr. Dre. I think he was really smart in taking Eminem under his wing, and he saw potential and was like,
Yeah,
this white kid can
yeah,
like really spit, right?
yeah,
So I think that's kind of what a lot of people say. Like, that's kind of how he blew up. He had both demographics, like so that's how he got so big. But yeah, I try not to see color either. But he was a massive influence for me, like huge influence. We kind of came up from a similar upbringing, like
yeah,
the trailer park kind of thing, like
yeah.
so I definitely kind of saw what Eminem had been through and what he had gone through and stuff. So
Sometimes it's so funny when people, whatever industry you're in, even in sports, it seems like when you have that struggle, you have more passion to make it. You know what I mean?
It's so true, man.
If you
I
feel
agree with
that
you.
too?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I think that like if you don't have a little bit of like resistance, a grit, you struggle through something, you came from a broken family, whatever it is. It gives you more oomph to keep going, to push harder, right? So I believe that.
Yeah,
It's
that
true.
drive. Yeah, because you want to make, you want to like get out of the situation you're in, or even help the people,
Yeah,
your family and friends coming up. It's like it's a
yeah,
beautiful
yeah.
thing, though.
Yeah, and I'm a father. I'm a father of four kids. So I'm
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So like I that's kind of exactly what you're saying. Like all I've ever wanted to do for my family and friends, including my kids, is to just show them that you can do whatever you set your mind to. Like
Yeah,
if you put in the time and the work and the effort and stuff, like there's endless possibilities and opportunities, man. So
man. Well said, man. Well said. So you did touch on some of the rappers. You know, I gotta ask you your top five, but I'll save that. I'll save that
all
for a
right.
little bit,
I
right?
wasn't ready for that. Oh shit.
I know. Yo, I tried to do something with this guy in the States. We only did like 3 episodes, but
Hmm.
one of our episodes, it was about hip hop, right?
Yeah.
But we listed our top five, and
Nice.
mine changes throughout the years. But you know what shirt
Same.
I'm wearing, right?
Oh, bro.
Yeah,
It was,
like
yeah.
this
March
not,
11th just
yeah,
passed, snuck by there. Yeah, yeah. No,
yeah,
I hear
March
you.
9th, March
We
9th.
might, sorry, March 9th. Yeah.
Mhm.
It is March 11th.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, yeah, Biggie, man. He's in my top five. I just don't know where in the top five, but definitely.
Yeah, but there's so many to choose from where you can break it down to the era, the genre, and
Definitely.
so many different things. But now I got to tell you, man, I'm an hour before our podcast. I'm listening to your tracks, and your voice is amazing. It's like I can just fall asleep to your rap style.
I
But
like that.
I was trying to picture. I was like, who does he sound like? Because I don't know if you get this, right?
Mm.
But I was like, who does he sound like? So I'm Googling rap names just to try and jog my memory on rappers. And you know who I think you sound like to me? I finally found out who.
Mm.
Fucking Guru, Gangstar. So Guru from
Oh,
Gangstar.
Gangstar. Damn.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never heard that. Nobody's ever said that before. But I can see what you mean, like the kind of raspy, kind of sleepy kind of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah,
it's
I
smooth
like
though,
that.
man. Like
Yeah,
your voice is hypnotic, man. I like it.
yeah, dope. I like that, man. That's cool. I've gotten kind of like a mix of like J. Cole sometimes too, just like that rasp kind of thing, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So now when you write, do you write with a purpose? Like, do you, because I always ask, I always relate it to myself. So if I was writing a joke for comedy, right? I would get
Yeah,
hit
yeah.
with it like at night, or I
Mm,
wouldn't just sit there and think, oh, I got to write a joke. Something would
yeah,
come to
yeah,
me and it would spark it, and I'd be like, this is gonna be a good one. And then I add
yeah.
on and throw things in there until I formulate
Yes.
it. So I want to
Yeah.
know, is it the same for you when you're writing for your rhymes? Is it from experiences mostly, or it's like I got an idea for a nice track?
Yeah, I'm kind of similar to you. So like sometimes you just get that raw, like it just kind of comes out of nowhere and you're like, oh, I gotta write this down, right? Or I gotta, so I don't forget it. You got a good idea, you're out and about during the day. I
Mhm.
get that a lot and then I build up on that. But usually like if I'm writing and going to write a new track, it'll be you're kind of building it up, right? Like you're building everything. How am I going to come in? I always feel like your first few lines, your first few bars should be like catch people, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
try to have something sharp there and then but yeah, if it's writing something, usually it's just like passion. It's comes with the music, I guess, whatever you're listening to.
Yeah.
You listen to a good beat and it gives you a vibe, then you're like you already know what you're going to say or
Yeah.
how you feel, right? And then you
Yeah.
just go from there. So that's
Yo,
kind of how I do it. But
so now when it comes to beats, who produces your beat? Did you ever make beats on your own first, or did you always have someone make beats for you? How does that work?
yeah, usually I think a lot of artists do it this way these days, which is pretty sad. But we get our beats like free, right? Like you're just whether you're at a little cipher, like a party, a house party or something, people are playing beats off YouTube.
Yeah.
So you just kind of go off like that. But my producer that produced Chaos Theory, I think some of the stuff you heard, um, is Estate Productions. He's a friend of mine from London, Ontario. And yeah, he's a really talented cat. We all used to be in a group together, a rap group from Sarnia, Ontario.
Oh, okay.
And it was Southwest Conference. So my friends, Southwest Conference, still a few of us that do music together. And yeah, and he still produces. And yeah, he uses a lot of like new school, like heavy 808
Mhm.
electronic stuff, right? But yeah, he's really, really talented. But I'd love to get into producing my own stuff. I think that's my next goal.
Yeah.
Sampling records and stuff, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
classics, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Um, you said something about ciphers, but did you freestyle in like the freestyle battles back in the day, or like how is it in your area? Are there other rappers back in the days coming up where you guys battle each other? How'd that work for you?
It was pretty like, not gonna lie, very like rural country kind of
Yeah.
vibe, right? It's growing up. But like me and my friends, like we liked hip hop and that type of stuff. So we would have like our own little ciphers and stuff. But anytime you go to like a different city or you're hanging out with other people, there's always somebody trying to rap and
Yeah.
and freestyle. So we'd always, my younger brother, he's an amazing freestyle artist, and he loves to freestyle, and he's a singer too. But
Oh,
yeah, he's just like, he is kind of where I learned how to freestyle, because it's like a cohesive, like, just uh, like verbal diarrhea. Like, you just got
yeah.
to keep it going, right? So I
Yeah.
kind of learned it from him. But yeah, we freestyle everywhere we go, and if we're
Oh,
hanging out, we're usually kicking freestyles and stuff. But
yeah, that's how you get better too, man. And that's how
yeah,
you build that arsenal of lyrics, man, where you could pull on,
definitely.
draw from, and things like that, right?
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing, to be honest, for me right now, is
Mhm.
like, as I'm making the new album and then also wanting to go and perform, like, I'm not even gonna lie, like, I don't have the greatest memory. So I look to learn all your lyrics, to keep up with the cadence, to memorize those things. And you're exactly right. Like, freestyling is, to me, I've always said it's like a muscle.
Yeah,
And if you don't freestyle, if you're not always doing it or keeping up on it, like, you lose it, like,
it's
you got
so
to keep
true.
up with it. Yeah.
So true. Yo, I was asking, who did I interview? Oh no, it was the poet I interviewed, Belinda. And I'm like,
Belinda, oh yeah, I've seen that
yeah,
one too.
yeah, and she had so many poems, right? From back in the day.
Mm,
And
mm.
I'm like, funny thing though, Ellie, I I was doing a show, comedy show before I quit comedy. I wasn't doing it a lot, right? And then I got invited to a show. And this is how I knew I was gonna quit because I
Yeah.
didn't practice or anything. And I actually forgot one of my jokes on stage. And
Ah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
I drew a blank and I didn't know the punchline. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so
Yeah,
uncomfortable. But
yeah, it sucks. Yeah.
but you know how there's so many artists out there and they have a library of songs. And I'm like, how do you remember the lyrics to all these songs? So you just
Yeah.
touched on something. Would you be able to just spit a lyric off any song that I know and say, hey, yeah, and start rapping it? Or it's like you said, it's a muscle memory. So
It is. It's all, like, me and my friends kind of do this too. I'm not as good as a lot of people I know, but like, say like an Eminem song or something, and just to sit there and know every
yeah.
lyric from 10 years ago. And spit that, right? Like, but no, now I can learn like my own stuff, like the last few days even, right? I've just, even just for this, just to be able to do PR, to be out and somebody's like, "Oh, you're a rapper, like, spit, say something,"
Yeah.
and I gotta, you're put on the spot. And
Right.
and I've had many instances where it's just like you said, where I don't know what to say. You kind of choke, right?
Yeah.
So I'd never wanted to do that. So yeah, I've been learning, and that's kind of my goal now. So I am getting a lot better with it for sure. And I think when this new album, I want to have everything memorized, so I'm ready to go perform
Mm.
and stuff.
Yeah, man. Um, so I was touching on high school for a minute. because
Hmm.
now I want to know about your performance. So you performed in Stratford, I believe, at the Hub. The Hub, is it called?
Yeah, the hub. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it was a small little performance or whatever one night, but yeah, it was a good night. Me and my friends, we kind of knew the owners, and they let us just kind of take over the DJ booth there for a little bit.
Okay.
And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was at around the time of the release of my album,
Mhm.
Chaos Theory in 2019, I believe. So,
Okay.
but the only other place I performed was at in Sarnia, I believe, in like 20 must have been like 2011, 2012,
Okay.
at the Trinity Lounge. So, and that was probably like the greatest feeling ever. Just a set. I did 3 songs, I think, and just
Mhm.
like you said, like I'm nervous as hell going up
Yeah, yeah.
there, trying to memorize everything. But yeah, it went really well. It felt good. Like I felt like this is what I want to do,
Yeah.
type thing. And everybody really enjoyed it. Like the crowd was going pretty nuts, so it was good, man.
Such a great feeling. So
Oh,
yeah,
so
so I wanted to know, did you take drama in high school? So your natural presence, like when I watch some of your videos, I'm like, you have a
mm,
natural presence. So
mm.
did you take drama in high school, or where did this come from? Or is it just innate in you? Or it's like, yeah, I know when
I
I
think
get that mic.
that's a that's a good point, actually. I get this a lot from people, especially from my family and like past lovers and whatnot. I could
Yeah,
be very like dramatic, and I'm gonna in touch with my emotions for sure. But
yeah.
it's weird that you said about the drama thing because like I never really never thought that that would be an avenue that I would go down.
Mhm.
But when I was in high school, Miss Russell was our drama teacher, and she kind of pulled me aside, and she's like, you got this thing about you, like you'd
Yeah.
be amazing." And I got really good grades in drama. She would always kept pushing me forward and really inspiring me and stuff. So I did kind of get into just even not acting, but just like how to convey emotion, I guess, or like you know what I mean, like how to how to show how you're feeling and stuff. So it's
Right.
weird that you picked up on that
Yeah.
actually.
And you shout out your teacher's name. Cool, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yo, do you know any of your teachers still from back in the days?
Probably I know a few, probably because I got in a lot of trouble, but she just as soon as you said that, she's like a beautiful woman. I know her daughter and stuff. So yeah, just good vibes, and she was very supportive back. So I that kind of sticks with you, eh? Like when you remember that. But
Yeah, it's so true, man. I even remember influential teachers from my public school, junior high school. Like you still know them by name, you know what I mean? The
yeah,
ones that
yeah,
really influenced you, man.
yeah. If they had an impact on you, yeah, you're gonna remember that, right?
Mhm. Okay, I want to know your top five. Let's just do this
All
now.
right, let's do it.
And it's
All right.
not something you have to like strain your brain on, but just your five top rappers, because I know we were saying it changes, but yeah. Let
Mhm.
me hear your top five.
I'll say like 2023, my top five right now, current, and this is like old rappers and new.
Okay.
Okay, so number five, I'm gonna put West Side Boogie is kind of like one of my favorite rappers right now. He's signed, I think he's under like Aftermath, like under Shady Aftermath.
Records, okay.
Um, yeah, West Side Boogie for number five. Number four, I would say J. Cole.
Hmm.
Probably a big fan of J. Cole right now. Number three would be Nas.
Hmm.
Nas is
Definitely.
actually I do have to like just say one thing, like Nas, I grew up on that, and like that was a religion to me. Illmatic and all Nas's music kind of taught me about how to write and how to the cadence and everything. So I
Yeah.
shout out to Nas.
Yeah.
Appreciate that guy for sure. And he's still making great music, like he's
Oh,
still going, right? So
no doubt, no doubt.
and number two would be um ooh, yeah, I'm gonna have to do it. So number two would be Biggie, and then my number one would be Tupac still.
Tupac.
So yeah, that's kind of still how I still keep those two at number one and two
Yeah,
because like
yeah.
It is what it is, and I'm always more of I lean more towards Tupac as
Mhm.
number one just because of his passion, because of just how like big he was, and his he was like larger than life, his personality, right? So
Yeah. Do you remember like you're quite a bit younger than me.
mm,
So I don't know if you remember because I remember talking to my friend. I remember hearing on the news when Biggie got shot. So I was
mm,
watching the news and I'm the one who told my friend. I was like, rapper Notorious B.I.G. And I'm like, oh my God. It just hits you,
yeah,
right? But
yeah,
some people that weren't born in that era, they don't know. Or if they're really young, they don't know. But
yeah, yeah,
I remember when Tupac too, it's like the news just hits you, man.
yeah, yeah.
There's been so
And I
many
think
rappers.
I was so young at that time, like I probably heard like little ripples, but it wasn't until because that was like 96, 97, I think, right?
Yeah,
Like both of them.
yeah.
So it wasn't until like probably about 3 or 4 years later that I started listening to everything and then saw all the newsreels from back then and then just realized like, wow, like how big it was to everyone, just like you said, like, how people felt when they got that news, especially Biggie, like in LA, like a year after Tupac, like it's kind of like, oh, what's going
Yeah,
on here, right?
yeah, crazy man.
Mm,
Um, it's crazy that there's so many rappers out there. Like I always name the
it's
names that
crazy.
people know and stuff, but there's so many other rappers that I would drop in my 10, like the Raekwon and the Method
Oh, for sure.
Man. And
Yeah.
there's
Method
so
Man. Oh,
many, man.
geez. And even nowadays, like just the way that, social media is and everybody wants to make music and wants to, be an artist or a rapper or singer or whatever. So
Mhm.
it's never ending, right?
Yeah. So what keeps you inspired then? Because since you said you had a tough life, like I've been through things in my life where I just want to just give up on what I'm doing because it's
Mm,
just easier just to stay in that box where it's like I'm mad at the world and things aren't going right.
yeah.
You just give up and you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't pursue what I'm supposed to do. But
Mm.
how do you stay inspired?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. So most of the time I'm just kind of like you, like I I get it, especially right now. It's kind of weird that we're doing this podcast now. Um, Even my album, like working on that right now. But to be honest, it's probably been the most difficult year of my life that I've had going through a lot. It's a very chaotic, a lot of emotions, a lot of things, falling apart. I'm juggling so many things, right?
Mhm.
But I think it keeps me grounded. Like I think music, if it wasn't for music, if it wasn't for me being able to let out all my emotions in like a positive way instead of turning to drugs or alcohol or whatever it may be, it just that gives me like a goal, gives me something to push for, right? And it's a little bit easier to use something that you're very like you're in love with, that you love
Yeah.
to do, to like pull you out of the darkness kind of thing, if that makes sense. But
Yeah, no, perfect sense, bro. Perfect sense.
yeah,
And that's why I like doing this podcast too, because I meet people like you, man. It's like I feel like I know my guest for years, there's a
yeah,
connection with my
it's the
guest.
same with you. Yeah, it's like you're very easy to talk to, and you seem to you grasp and you have the right questions to ask.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that now, we come
Oh,
to the middle of the interview now where I have this question for season this can be interesting. For
mm,
season 6. So I don't know if you heard this from the other podcast, but it's a would you rather question, right?
okay, yeah.
So, would you rather visit your younger self and give him advice for the future? Or would you rather your older self visit you and give you advice for the future of
Ooh,
what's to come?
ooh, that's such a good question. To be honest, I would probably rather be visited by my younger self. I think just to it would be almost just to put things in perspective and because I think that the younger me would be like proud, like, or like you've been through all this and you're doing good. It'd be almost like kind of like a pat on the back, like keep going or something. But maybe if it was the older version of me going back and giving me advice, it'd be a lot more negative. It'd be like you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. Like, come on, step it up. Like you gotta work harder, you gotta be stronger. Like, but I think yeah, that's a really good question. I like that. But yeah, probably the younger version of me.
Younger. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm hearing a lot of interesting.
What do people say usually?
So this you're my fifth interview. So I just asked it
Yeah.
for four people so far. And it's been a mixture, but I think there was one
Mm.
maybe that Eric, this guy in the States, a comedian, I think he said he wouldn't visit his younger self or have his older self. This is when I was trying to work out the question with him.
Yeah, yeah.
And basically, I don't know if it was someone else. Basically, it's someone wanted to get their own path, right?
I get
So
you.
they don't want to know what's going on. They want to build it in their direction that they're going now or something like that.
Mm.
But I came up with this question. I was asking my wife, how am I going to word this? And I worked it out with Eric, but I really like this question. I'm going to keep doing it in the future seasons.
Yeah, I like that, man. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really good.
it's just interesting to know what people would say because I've heard it before. Oh, if you visit your younger self, but the older self, I never heard that before. I'm like,
Mm.
hey, would you want your older self to visit you right now and tell you, hey, this is what you got to do to make it or whatever, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or like live in the moment. Yeah, I guess if it was the older self, it'd be a lot more of like, like take your time,
Yes.
enjoy everything while you can, right? Like stop, smell the roses a little bit, and don't stress, don't worry. Yeah, it's a good question, man. I like that.
Yo, and I'm glad you just said that because that's one thing I was getting out in some of my interviews this season. It's like live in the moment. There's so
Mm,
many times that we're stressed and we have to make that dollar to pay bills. We have
yeah,
relationship problems. There's so many different things with work, stressed
yeah,
out, and we're not living in the moment.
no,
And then your
you're
gears
exactly
just
right.
go on and you're like, wow.
Yeah. And I have a thing where it's like I have a tendency to like I hold on to things like for a long time. So I live in the past a lot and I'm trying to learn to be like look to the future, right? Or
Yeah.
how do you want to be right now so that you can have a future like that you dream about maybe or that you've always wanted, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's what we do in the now that determines what's going to happen later. So
Well said. Okay. Now there's a little addition to that
mm,
question, but this is all about your younger self now.
okay.
So it didn't matter if my guest chose younger or older. This question's about your younger self.
Okay.
What would you tell your younger self about money?
Um What would I tell my younger self about money? Um, I would tell my younger self that, which is kind of funny because we know how much uh, money rules the world, I guess, but
Mhm.
that it doesn't matter. I think there's a really funny line that comes to my mind from the movie Blow with Johnny
Oh,
Depp
love that movie.
and his dad's like or sorry, I think it's his mom and it's like money isn't everything, Georgie. Like money isn't everything. And I get that. It's like I would tell the younger version of me like don't aspire to make a whole bunch of money or do something that you're passionate about. Find purpose in life. I think when people actually find purpose and like a goal or something they want to shoot towards, then that the money comes.
Mm,
Like the money will come, right?
yeah. Yeah, I hear that a lot. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. What would you tell your younger self about family?
About family, to me, I think I would tell the younger version of me, which I've touched on before, is like come from a broken family, so I knew this at a young age. Like family is paramount. It's should be the most one of the most important things that you value and you hold dear, right? So, um, to always be there for your family. I would tell them that to always confide and be there for your family. And yeah, that it is like one of the most important things. Like once you have this foundation, I think there's like almost 8 billion people on the planet, right? And you only got so much family blood that you come from, right? So learn your heritage, learn about like your history, your family history. I think that's important for sure.
Nice. What would you tell your younger self about friends?
Be careful. No, be careful who you associate with for sure. Um, but yeah, no, like friends, I think it goes back to even the money thing is like I was always so worried about in high school, about being accepted and being liked and finding friends. And sometimes you don't make the smartest decisions when you're all about that. So it's not, I would say that to my younger self or even to my kids, I would say like that's not the most important thing to focus on, you know, just like
Yeah.
a relationship or love isn't, I think you that comes, right? As you grow as a person, you find who you are as a person, you're going to find like-minded individuals, you're
Yeah.
all going to collaborate and it works out in the end, right? But,
Nice. And the last one, and you said the word there. What would you tell your younger self about love?
mm, what I have a I have a love and hate relationship with love. No, um, you know, love is a beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing to experience, and I'm sure you know this as well. You said you got a wife. Um, it's such a great feeling to experience that. But as a younger version of me, I would probably tell my younger version or younger self that that you'll find it when you're ready. Like you'll when it's real and you're available and you're mature enough to understand like what love is. And I don't think a lot of people really know what love is these days, right? Like true unconditional love, like what you would do for someone that you care about. So until you're at an age where you're goal oriented and you're focused, you're driven, you found purpose, then love is like that much more sweet, right? So
Nice.
yeah,
Thanks
man.
for answering those questions.
Yeah, man.
Now, back to the music for a minute. So, on IG, where do you do most of your promoting of your stuff? Is it on IG or Facebook, YouTube? Where do you do them?
Yeah, mostly IG right now. And I think I have like a Facebook page tied in there, but and I just started doing rollout on like promotional stuff for like paying for ads and stuff just to
Oh yeah.
kind of put stuff out so people get to see it. But yeah, it's mostly Instagram. I'm probably going to be working with a few different um, like promoters and companies and stuff, just even locally, and then I think in Toronto and a few cities around, just to be able to get venues booked, to be
Yeah.
able to get your stuff out and get people listening. But yeah, Instagram is where it's usually at. But
Yeah, I think that's how I found you on a
mm,
sponsored ad, maybe. I was
yeah.
just scrolling through and I'm like, oh, who is this guy, man?
Who's spitting?
So now specific tracks now. So
Mm,
you have a track unapproachable,
mm,
right?
yeah.
Um, is it intentional when you do it in parts? So I see a post part one, part two, part three, part four. Is that intentional where you just do it that is because the timing
Yeah.
or how do you why do you break it down like that?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So it is intentional. I find a lot of people like, and I think my ex and like was actually someone who taught me this, and a lot of people. I use like Snapchat, so like my closest friends can see my Elleybee music and stuff.
Yeah.
But they've told me it's like everybody has a short attention span, so nobody's gonna really sit there on Instagram and listen to a 3 minute song or whatever, right? So if you can break it up into verses or like a verse and a hook and
Yeah.
a verse and a hook, then they can listen to that or just hear that and it's enough to catch them. And then if they're curious enough, they'll go to your page and say, oh, where's part one, part two? Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
good call on that. Good call.
Yeah. Because I seen it on that and also Give It to You. Give It to You, part one, part
Yeah, give it to
two.
you.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, man. These tracks are amazing, man. But there was a
Mhm.
line, I actually wrote it down that I liked in Unapproachable. I just need my roots to grow and be myself truthfully. Like
Mhm.
the lyrics in that song, I'm like, this guy has to get, I gotta get this guy out there, man. This
Yeah, I
well written.
appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Well
And
written.
those are like, it's weird that you say that because when you're writing and stuff, like some of those songs, like I'm literally like shedding tears as I'm
Yeah.
writing these songs, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm going through it, right? Like yeah, Unapproachable is like just got out of a relationship and like you're kind of heartbroken. You're like, I don't want any, I'm unapproachable. Like there's not nobody else could ever bring me to feel the way I felt for that person. So it's like, like I need to be myself truthfully
Mhm.
to, that's kind of what it is yeah, you want to love yourself, you got to find who you are first, right? So
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing that. Um, now I see the background imagery. You had the CN Tower in the couple of videos. Like, who shoot you shoot your own video? Like, do you set up your cameras and everything? Because Give It to You is outside and there's a ship in the background, and like trying to think if I know that city, that area, and things like that.
it's not
But
Toronto.
no, it's not Toronto, right?
Yeah.
But so
Yeah,
how do you
so
pick the locations and things to shoot this?
yeah, I think so. That one was actually I'm living with my buddy. His we'll just his nickname's Big Ton,
Mhm.
or Ton, and he was the one that was one day. He's like, I got a few spots around town, like that I think would be good. He's like, I'll shoot a video for you. Like I'll be behind the camera.
Okay.
You just, we'll go out and try to make our own little mock video or whatever. So that was our like first attempt. So
Oh,
but that's in Owen Sound. That video was shot in Owen Sound, Ontario. So right down by like we live right close to the water.
yeah.
There's usually big ships and stuff. But the ode to like Toronto or like the CN Tower is I just have like a love of Toronto. I grew up close to Toronto, so any free time that I had, either with my kids or by myself or um, my girlfriend or whatever, like we're always in Toronto exploring or just experiencing the city, right? So yeah, I just have a love for that city.
For the
So
city. Yes. Big up, big up. So your
yeah.
kids now, your kids know what you do. Like, what's the age ranges?
Yeah, yeah, they know what I do, which is kind of a thing that's kind of been hard to to grasp as they get older, right? Like before when they're younger, some of the content might not be, appropriate
Yeah.
for younger kids, right? But yeah, my kids now 12, 13 and 15, yeah. So they're getting up there. They're amazing kids. I have a little wee guy that I don't really get to see very much, but
Yeah.
he's about 5 years old. So but yeah, they're amazing kids. They're super supportive too. They've always been I think there's a few times that they've shot videos and stuff for me.
Yeah.
Like here, Dad, we'll hold the camera.
Yeah.
But and my daughter, she's quite the little singer. Chloe's an amazing, talented young girl, and yeah, she kind of found an interest for that too. So she get behind the mic and want to sing. We've done songs together and stuff too.
Oh,
So yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
So I see
Hmm.
the mic that you have there. Like, I know things can be expensive too when some people have to pay for studio time or you build the thing yourself and stuff. Do you find it costly when you have to buy certain things that you need for production and things like this?
Yeah, definitely. That's a very good point. Obviously, I'm not like I don't make a crazy amount of money, but I think over the years, I would save up and like buy the pretty much the basic equipment that I needed to get by to make it
Yeah.
sound professional enough, and then I kind of learned as I went. This was actually a gift, so I really was very grateful um, to the person that gave me this. And I was shocked. Like I don't receive gifts well, so when I got the gift, I was like, no, 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 take it back. Like I knew what kind of mic it was. I was like, no, can't accept this.
Yeah.
But no, my mic before, I think it was like around like well, $200, $300 or something,
Mhm.
just to start it off. And but yeah, the equipment, and I imagine as I go progress further, um, you're looking at getting better equipment, and I'm sure you are as well, right? Like
Yeah.
you want the best kind of quality that you can get, right? So,
Mhm.
but I would suggest just to tell people, just use the bare basics, like the bare minimum.
Mhm.
You can make anything sound good if you got the talent, right? So,
Yeah. Yo, since you were just touching on your life too in the beginning,
mm,
um, and what you're doing now, I ask this question on a regular basis to I think most of my guests in most of the seasons, but I didn't ask it to everyone. But I want to
mm,
know if what you would say to someone, advice to someone that wants to give up on their dreams. They're on that brink of giving up.
that's really good because I've been there for sure. I would tell them that, that it's the most important thing. Never give up on your dreams. For one thing, never ever. If it's something that you love and you're passionate about, there's always room for your dreams. Like there's always something to fall back on, and you should never really give up on you. That's a part of you. That's what you want. So it's like you're giving up on yourself. You're saying you're not worth it. You can't do it, and it's not true. Like we're all worth it. We all have dreams and things that we want to accomplish. So just keep pushing, man. Just keep going.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Mm.
Um, Projects. What do you have? So you said you're working on stuff now. So let the people know that are listening or watching what you're working on now.
Yeah, for sure. So I got an album in the works. It'll probably be out this summer. I don't know what like a definitive date or anything, but it's called To Be Continued. So it's just kind of like a follow up from my debut album. Just kind of self mixed and mastered, and again working with Estate Productions out of London, Ontario.
Mhm.
So yeah, excited for that. They got some venues and stuff lined up for the summer, so starting to perform live again and just
Nice.
kind of branch out, man. Yeah.
Wait, so I got this question to ask you as you know, I ask people to choose something that I'm gonna read out,
Oh
but
yes, yeah,
you
yeah.
did touch on something though. When COVID, how did COVID treat you? Like
Oh,
it was a blessing for me because I got to work from home. I got to spend time with my dog before she passed. Like good two
mm.
years. She was an
Sorry to
older
hear,
dog.
man.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
right, man. I'm getting over it. It still hurts.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then I got to spend time with my wife, my dog, like everyone's home. So,
Mm.
and I'm kind of an introvert. Some people don't think so, but I rather be at home, you know what
Chilling
I
by
mean?
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
with
I hear you,
family.
man.
But how did
And
COVID treat you?
yeah, I think similar to you. Like I was, I think I was at that time I was working on a farm, so I was lucky enough to have the best of both worlds. Like I could still work,
Mhm.
um, but then I was also homeschooling my kids like part of the week. But
Yeah,
like financially, like it was tough. Like it was tough to get through everything. You're on one income, you're trying to juggle everything too, right? So it was tough, but just like you said, like it was amazing, I think, for everybody just to chill out. Like everything just stopped, right?
yeah,
So then you really get to see like what it's like with family. You get more time
yeah,
with your kids. Yeah, it was good. Got to cook a lot more.
yeah.
Yeah, it was good, man. But I'm glad that it's over for sure.
Oh,
Or
yeah,
somewhat
same.
over.
Yeah. Did you write a lot during that time? Because there was hardly anything to do, right?
Yeah, I did actually. I got a few songs that are unreleased. One's called Quarantine.
Oh, really?
There's a few that I had actually lined up just for like a COVID release, but I never released it in
Wow.
any album. So, but yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Now it's that time. Let me mix this up a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
Now, for season 6, you're choosing for me to read out Blue Jays or the Raptors.
Okay, I'm gonna get you to read out the Raptors.
What is one of the most memorable moments of your life?
Mm. The most memorable, I can almost like definitively say the moment, um, was the birth of my first son. I think when I saw him come out of his mother, and just the feeling that overcame me, and like the emotion and everything, and still like vivid. I can still see it. I remember the feeling. It was beautiful, beautiful moment, man.
Good, good. You know, some
Yeah.
people that I interview, that would be the first thing. Like some people would say, you know, it would be the birth of my child, but I'm going to say this. But but there are a lot of people that, yeah, they say the birth of their children, and I
Yeah.
would think that too. Because my daughter was a preemie. She's 24, going on 25 now.
No, right
But
on. Yeah, good.
yeah, but we didn't know if she was going to make it. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was amazing. C-section.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
Miracle girl. Hey,
Yes, that's what
good.
we call her, our miracle baby.
Good. That's awesome, man. Good.
Mhm. So you know I do this for donations, right?
Hmm.
So I donate to a charity after every episode. Do you have a charity in mind that I'll be donating to for season 6?
Yeah, so I've done some work, and I've dealt with in Canada the Canadian Mental Health Association.
Mhm.
I just think it's a good cause, especially nowadays, like you touched on with the pandemic. I think a lot of people used um, like telephone therapy and the Canadian Mental Health Association, when people were having a hard time. So I think it's important. I think mental health matters, and they'd be a good cause. So yeah, man.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, you said you sent the link to me already, so
Okay, cool. Good.
yeah, I'll be donating to them. Perfect. Now,
Awesome.
you know, I ask anyone that comes on here that's a rapper if they can
Oh,
freestyle something or sing something or rap something from their album or off the top. Can you
yeah.
do that for me today?
Yeah, man. I'll try. I think I prepped something for you anyway, but
All right,
we'll
let's
see how
get
it
it.
goes. All right,
Let's
bro.
get it.
All right. I'm hard pressed to king of hearts out the card deck. Regardless of hardships we harbor, it's offset. Sails in the wind. It never fails, pales in comparison. When roll the marijuana and martinis from Maryland. It's hard to keep up with current affairs. Not because the volume, it's the content that has me worried and scared. A poet's demise, but so my eyes shut. For most of my life, I had my tongue tied up. Watch where the water runs and when it dries up. Don't shed a few tears. This was always my luck. I bet you $5. They gonna see us rise up to any occasion that your imaginations can size up. Rose petals and Cabernet if I had my way. Frozen bezels and endless banks if we have to save. Nights of escapades with actresses who need an extra accolade. I read my script. She plead the fifth and told me she'd be back in May. My aftermath and wake would have to be summed up as a tragic fate because all of my emotions I just pack away. They tell me drive slowly, homie. I just live in the moment, drop the mic and back away. Yeah, that's a little teaser. And that'll be off like the new album and stuff. So yeah.
Whoa, whoa. This is what I'm talking about, man. Yo, yo, yo.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love, man. For sure.
God, this is why I reached out to you, man. This Elleybee. Okay, this is great. Told me the charity. You did a little freestyle for me.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys want to find me, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, any social media account, it should be at Elleybee Music. So that's ELLEYBEE Music. And then on Spotify, all your global streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, Tidal, whatever it may be, you can find me there.
Nice. All right. This has been a great episode.
Yeah,
And for the
man.
people, this is the last episode I'm doing for season 6. Then I'm taking a break. So it was a pleasure having you on today.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. Real Talk with Star Scorpio, and we out.